Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of Face to Face. I'm right here, Rafael Chacin Montillas, known as El Capitan Rafucho. And right now, we're about to witness another episode of Face to Face. Remember, guys, this is an interview web series that we're talking about the sports content creators, athletes, musicians, influencers, and people with good stories. So, right now, I'm going to introduce this man right here because over the last three episodes, I had the opportunity to talk with CG Ruthless, Mitch Koski, and of course, East Coast Grand Aaron, which is Dante. And right now, I'm going to introduce this man right here. A man with no fear at all. A Dallas Cowboys fan. And of course, he has a lot of subscribers with a show called Trolling. And of course, he had a lot of story to talking about the rivalry and of course the status and about what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys. And of course, he's part of the Bergen Sports Media, all these Philadelphia sports. And of course, he's the only one for the Dallas Cowboys. And of course, there's CJ Worthless. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to introduce this incredible Dallas Cowboy content creator. Even though I don't like Dallas Cowboys, he's still one of my favorites since day one. So, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Boys for Life.
Well, thank you for that introduction. I mean, that is probably one of the best introductions I've ever had. I appreciate you for wanting me to come on your show. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be here, man.
All right, so I'm very glad to see you, Boys for Life. And remember, because that guy has more than 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, he has a show called Trolling because he's talking about the Dallas Cowboys, and also there's rivalries between the Washington Commanders, New York Giants, and of course the Philadelphia Eagles. So right now, the first topic that we're talking about is the player Von Miller. Do you know this guy is Von Miller? Because we've heard about this years how Jerry Jones will be cuts more Super Bowl win for the Dallas Cowboys. Because Von Miller, because I just read one of the tweets here right here. After the NFL free agency period started, Von Miller called former Denver Broncos teammate DeMarcus Ware and indebted judge the Dallas Cowboys' interest to bring him home. Per the Dallas Morning News, he ended up signing with the Buffalo Bills because it was the 5th of January. Because Miller eventually signed a 6-year, a $100 million contract with the Buffalo Bills, but he's not before reaching for the former Denver Broncos teammate DeMarcus Ware. So, any thoughts about Von Miller had to go to, well, thinking about going to the Dallas Cowboys, instead go to the Buffalo Bills?
For me, when I heard that news, I didn't think it was going to happen. Knowing my team and how we operate, and knowing what players do so they can get bigger contracts elsewhere, it's kind of they kind of use the Cowboys so that way they can go get a bigger contract somewhere else. I'm gonna say it like this. The media likes to put out stuff. The Cowboys sell. We all know this. The Cowboys sell. So for a story to come out and all that, I'm not saying he didn't reach out to DeMarcus Ware. I mean, we saw the IG videos or the Twitter, whatever it came from. But for me, as a real Cowboy fan, to actually think that the Cowboys would try to sign Von Miller when we have Diggs coming up for contract, CeeDee Lamb coming up for contract,
Yes.
Parsons in the future coming up for contract, a few years down the road. I mean, would it be? It wouldn't be. We wouldn't be able to sign him. I should just say it like that. There's no way that I even thought, because what the Cowboys like to do is they like to sign their own guys, and I didn't think that he was going to come here. So when I heard that noise, everyone, you heard it, you saw it on Twitter. Everyone was freaking out. Oh, bring Von Miller. And I was like, that ain't happening. He's not coming here.
Oh, yes, because I just saw the news right here because I thought Von Miller, because after a Super Bowl win with the Los Angeles Rams, he decided to join out to the Dallas Cowboys. But he ended up signing a billionaire deal with the Buffalo Bills. So
Yeah.
let's see about the comments right here. Let's see Birdman right here. Birdman 9.1 say, whoa. It says, what's up, guys? Even though I know Birdman, he's a Philadelphia sports content creator, and well, he's an Eagles fan. But speaking about the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys, one of the biggest rivalries ever in the history is Dallas Cowboys versus two different teams. First, the rivalry between Dallas Cowboys versus New York Giants. And
Mhm.
of course, we're talking about Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia Eagles, which is the most important rivalry, not only in the conference, but also in the history of the NFL, because I've been learning about the history of the rivalries and everything about it. So, how do you define about this rivalry about both teams? Like, if Dallas Cowboys had to come to against Philadelphia Eagles, well, some of the Philadelphia Eagles say Dallas suck, but it's just like, well, it's part of the culture about the football season. When it
Mhm.
comes to a game between Dallas Cowboys versus Philadelphia Eagles, you know it's gonna happen. You know it's
Mhm.
gonna happen between a battle between quarterbacks, between Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott. It actually happens. So, any thoughts about this historical rivalry between the Philadelphia Eagles versus Cowboys?
Well, it's a long history. I mean, it's dated back to the '70s um, when the Cowboys were doing what they were doing and getting to the Super Bowl, winning Super Bowls in the '70s. We won two. We went to I want to say went to three. We went to five in the '70s. I
Oh
mean,
yes,
Philly is a straight up blue collar, hardworking town. That's what it is.
yeah, that
Uh,
we call the Broadway Love City, but
Yeah.
yes.
So Dallas, on the other hand, is complete opposite. We're white collar, dress up, go to work every day, while Philly is take your lunch pail to work type of people. So it's very two different ends of the spectrum when you come to these when you think about both of these two cities. And then you put in the football teams, you have the flashy Dallas Cowboys, and then you have the put your fingers in the dirt, get down and dirty with the Eagles. But we're in the same we're in the same division. They don't like us. We don't like them. We have more Super Bowl appearances, playoff wins, everything. We have more than the Philadelphia Eagles.
Oh
And
yes.
I mean, I get it. The past 20 years, the rivalry has been Cowboys Eagles because y'all what 14 playoff wins in the past 20 something years, respectable. But by the same token, it's y'all are fighting and going after those Super Bowl wins that the Cowboys have. So I mean, it's very two different ends of the spectrum when you look at the city as a whole and look at the players as a whole. And I think that's why this rivalry is so heated, is because you have certain type of people on one side, certain type of people on the other side, and it's just I love to see it. I love it. There's no love lost between these two teams.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just read it about the history about because the first meeting it was September 30 of 1960 when the
Yeah.
Eagles win the Cowboys 27-25. The last one it was Cowboys 51, Eagles 26. And the largest victory was October 9, 1960, when the Dallas Cowboys win against Philadelphia Eagles 56 against 7. And he's been ranking number one overall these all these history right here because there's like moments right here because there's Tony Franklin kick that the longest field in Eagles history. Also, there's the championship game of '80 between the Eagles versus Cowboys, and of course the 1987 season, with many of the Cowboys break crossing the picket line during the strike. Dallas media the replacement like Eagles 41-22, and Buddy Ryan was accused unrelated to running up the score because was accused him out before. The
Yeah.
bounty balls, and of course there was October 19 when the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles became a support chuck bowl the week before. Philadelphia head coach Buddy Ryan, the 10th line, his offensive coordinator, were out for a dinner, and they just started to joking about. There was a regular season 91, also there was 92 and 95, and of course in the middle of the rainstorm. It was 1993 because that was the year that I was born. Because I was born in August 1993, and that was in August. Because in the middle of the rainstorm, Emmitt Smith ran for over 2,000 yards, setting the Cowboys record for most yards in a running back as a single game. And of course, the last one, it was very important because I was on Christmas Day. The Philadelphia Eagles continue on the road with this division win because there was a surprising victory between Philadelphia and, of course, versus Dallas Cowboys. And of course, if you don't remind of this bar right here, because this right here during the 2018 NFL Draft in the stadium of the Dallas Cowboys, David Arcturus loudly booed local audience for the Dallas Cowboys and said, "Tonight I'm representing the Philadelphia Eagles, and they're all trolling all the Dallas Cowboys in their own home at the ATG Stadium." And of course, December 9, 2018, when the Eagles and Cowboys made the second meeting because they came onto the 4-game winning streak, and of course with Amari Cooper, Ezekiel Elliott, that was very amazing. And of course, speaking about Amari Cooper, so they're well known as a blazing offense because there's a lot of plethora to weapons at this point. Because unfortunately for the team, which is the Dallas Cowboys, the front office had decided to trade and start a wide receiver, Amari Cooper, because while enduring this bad injury, the 2021 season was arguably the worst since the injury-plagued 2017 season, because they still need a tons of weapon on their roster because they never had another top end talent. They got it completely together. So the first it was CeeDee Lamb, because now it's taken out for the undisputed wide receiver. And of course, this upcoming season they get at least 100 targets when it comes to the last season. Because right now DK Metcalf is still running about his yards and target 20 yards downfield. So tell me about Amari Cooper right here because he still needed tons of league, and of course, he had tons of power, what they need for the Dallas Cowboys. I think he's still muted.
Yeah. I'm sorry. About Amari Cooper leaving and like what that's okay. So Amari Cooper leaving, that's probably one of the only guys leaving that I was upset about. But at the same time, I was upset about him because I know what he brings to the table. I know how great he is as a wide receiver. The only thing is that we didn't utilize him correctly. I didn't think with the way Kellen Moore schemed, he's still learning, in my opinion. His scheming is a little off. It's a little vanilla. It's very predictable. He did fall. He did come from that Jason Garrett coaching tree. So to me, I mean, sometimes he has flashes where he does really good when he schemes, and there's other times like what we see, lately with what happened with Amari Cooper. I mean, and to me, that's why Amari Cooper looked like what everyone said, him falling off or him disappearing in certain games. It's because I don't think we schemed correctly to get Amari Cooper the ball. Now, Amari Cooper is the guy that demands double teams and demands attention, but so does CeeDee Lamb. And CeeDee Lamb, if you look at the film, CeeDee Lamb did get double teamed quite a bit last year. So I'm hoping, I mean, and then if you look at the stats and the target rates, if I stand, I'll look it up when we start talking about something else. But if I stand corrected, CeeDee Lamb had more targets thrown his way than Amari Cooper last year.
Exactly.
And so, for me, I like that only because now that CeeDee Lamb is gone, guess what? We have not CeeDee Lamb, excuse me, Amari Cooper is gone. Now that Amari Cooper is gone, guess what? CeeDee Lamb is now our number one. And if he's able to do what he did last year as the number one and get the targets, yeah, because look, CeeDee Lamb had 121 targets last year, caught 79 passes, right? I mean, he had a little case of the dropsies where he had about, I want to say, 5 or 6 drops last year, if I stand corrected. So I'm not worried too much. And Amari Cooper had 104. So there's about a 16 there's 16 more targets going to CeeDee Lamb. So I am sad to see Amari Cooper go because of what he demands, because of how great of a wide receiver he is. But I also plan to have CeeDee Lamb in that position as well. Be a great wide receiver. I mean, he put on, I want to say, like 10, 15 pounds of muscle or extra weight, I think is what it is. And apparently he grew half an inch. So I'm expecting CeeDee Lamb to have a big year, even though he is going to be guarded by the number one wide receivers, because he is going to be that guy this year. So I'm expecting CeeDee Lamb to step up his game. And even though we don't have Gallup, because he's going to be hurt, and he's hurt, and he's going to be out at least till November. So with the guy we just drafted, Tolbert, out of college, Southern Alabama, I think is where he went. He had about 1,400 yards last year at the wide receiver position. But with him, he's able to play every single position at the wide receiver position. So I think there's going to be a lot of moving around. I mean, you can put CeeDee Lamb back in the slot and put Tolbert back out, by himself. I like the pieces that we have. I get it. Amari Cooper is gone and he's not a weapon for us anymore. But I feel that CeeDee Lamb is going to step up this year in a big way for Dak.
Yes, exactly. Because right now, because we know about the Amari Cooper's career, but speaking about another Dallas Cowboys player, because we're talking about the most important thing that we'll just learn about the news, the player Dalton Schultz. Because the contract negotiations between the Cowboys and the franchise tight end Dalton Schultz are going great at the moment, which shows now skipping the summer practice out of frustration. So, which Dallas started considering about the options? One particularly is one player that will know how to fit well. His name is Eric Ebron. So it's not hard to imagine it how the Cowboys digging the heels in the Dallas conversation, because uh, the franchise tag only paying Schultz 10 million, while the league top tight ends are 14 to 15 million annually. It's as likely it's much later than a number. So a guy like Eric Brown, it starts to creep into this mire here, because the 29-year-old veteran is still a free agent after a down year on Pittsburgh, because it doesn't help that knee injury cut the season short, just like 8 games, because Ebron was the 10 overall pick in 2014, because he's often himself on bad teams. To be fair, perhaps this doesn't enough about it, because however, in adverse luck that season with the Colts, everyone had a Pro Bowl with 66 catches with over 700 yards and 30 touchdowns, and a solid number of 1,500 yards and 5 touchdowns in a partial backdrop 2020 for the Steelers. So Eric recently had to show he can still produce the simulation outlook. So can you tell us about how Dalton Schultz skip all of these summer practice right here? Because I don't think it's gonna be like, well, it's gonna be traded or something else is gonna happen between the player Dalton Schultz.
Dalton Schultz, he did sign his franchise tag, if I'm not mistaken. He didn't miss all of OTAs. He's only missing this last week. I saw a tweet like, and this is why I say the media likes to just stir the pot, is because there was a tweet out there that was said where Dalton Schultz isn't worried about his contract, and this was before all this came out. So he said he wasn't worried about his contract. He's going to let his his agent, do the negotiating, do what he got to do. And then all this stuff came out because Dalton Schultz, and I don't see how there's not a connection here. Dalton Schultz misses voluntary OTAs, and then all of a sudden now, he's having issues with contract talks. I don't think that that's a situation. I just think it's voluntary OTAs. He doesn't want to be there. I mean, he doesn't have to. I'll be more concerned about it, if anything, when mandatory minicamp starts happening here in a couple weeks. That's when I'll be a little bit more worried. I don't foresee Dalton Schultz being traded. I see him starting and playing week 1. So, I mean, I really don't see anything happening with Dalton Schultz. The only thing I do see happening is that the Cowboys may end up overpaying for someone that they don't need to overpay for. So, but that'll be remain to be seen. So we'll see on that.
Oh, because that was because he was skipping all these summer practice right here. Because I mean, what the heck is going on with the Dallas Cowboys? Because it's still too well to Eric Ebron or anything about it. So I just wanted to need to everybody else because right now we're to see anything. So, folks, do me a favor because not only you can subscribe Rafael Chacin on YouTube, also you can subscribe Boyz4Life. He's been doing an amazing job on trolling. So right now, I'm gonna do well. I'm gonna to share this webpage right here because we are talking about comparisons between two quarterbacks. One is for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts. The other was Dallas Cowboys quarterback, which is Dak Prescott. So the last season, Dak Prescott was doing amazing because right now Dak Prescott has been completions, attempts. He was doing a percentage. It was passing yards, and he was very great because tell me about the comparison. Who has the best quarterback in this moment right here? Because it's between Jalen Hurts of Philadelphia Eagles or Dak Prescott for the Dallas Cowboys. He had the best numbers.
Uh huh. I mean, for me, I've done with other cowboy. I mean, not cowboy, but other, against other Eagle content creators, video makers, whatever you want to call them. I don't think there's really no comparison right now. Dak is the better quarterback. The numbers prove it. The numbers show it. But on the other hand, Jalen Hurts is still learning. He's still learning. This is his third year in the league. His second year going to be starting as the actual starter. Last year, Jalen Hurts, there's plays out there that he didn't need to make that he tried to do too much, and that comes with experience. Look, I'm one of the biggest trollers when it comes to trolling Eagle fans and the way they speak highly of Jalen Hurts. But if you have a real conversation and we get down to the nitty gritty about it, Jalen Hurts is young and is young and very inexperienced, is what he is. Um, so for me, um, there's things that Jalen Hurts needs to learn going into his second year as a starter. This is, like I said, this is his third year, but his second year as a starter. There's a lot of things he needs to learn, and he's taking the initiative in the offseason where he went to go work with quarterback coaches. There were the same things that
Uh-huh.
Dak ended up doing. So for me, it's I mean, you look at the numbers right there. Dak Prescott,
Uh-huh.
leads the way, in this whole division with the
Yeah,
numbers. I
that's
mean,
numbers right here because
yeah,
he he has a 400 completions. He has a percentage of 68 because that Prescott has a bigger numbers than Jalen Hurts because
right,
the only thing that he has because it's sack right here because he sacked 26 and that Prescott 30, and for the rushing yards, Jalen Hurts dominated with 139 and of course the touchdowns with 10. So he was that Prescott played 17 games. Jalen Hurts
yeah,
16, and he has more snaps that Jalen Hurts right here, and he has more than anybody else. And he has like a lot of fantasy points, and of course, he's been doing a lot of great right here because for me, there was no comparison between who has the hottest quarterback right here in the conference right here because it's between Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott because there's no comparison because right now Dak Prescott has been doing great because had right now had as a high percentage, he has more yards than Jalen Hurts and of course he has a lot of things to also improve. So I think that Jalen Hurts is still learning about, but Dak Prescott is thinking that it said, oh, there's a comment right here. So this says, give me the numbers you think Jalen will need win 11 games. So I don't think it's gonna be a part of this time right here. So we just saw about the comparisons between Jalen Hurts versus Dak Prescott, and there's no doubt that Dak Prescott is still dominates to be the greatest, to be one of the hottest quarterbacks at the conference right here, because right now the scenes first one they had Dak Prescott. Then the second one it was Jalen Hurts for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then The third place, well, they had to be like the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders because, well, they are they're both great, but they can handle like, well, they had a bigger season right here, but it doesn't have enough power, enough, well, ability to, well, because that Prescott is untouchable. It's untouchable. You can never mess with him. Passing yards, rushing yards, you can never mess him.
Yeah. No, I mean, look at the numbers right here. This is that's why I was making fun of a lot of Eagle fans for, because, they're over here talking very highly of Jalen Hurts, and I get it. Y'all got who did y'all get? AJ Brown. I understand that, but even when you had, I get it. Rager's out there, Quez Watkins. I mean, y'all speak very highly of him. You had Devontae Smith out there, and
Oh,
even though
yes.
there's some Eagle fans that are here on YouTube sitting there saying that Jalen Rager looked more like the number one wide receiver because of the opportunities he was getting, when that's not at all the truth. If you look at the attempts, the targets going these two guys' way, Devontae Smith had double what Rager had, so that tells me that Devontae Smith looked like the number one. And even though Devontae Smith had over 100 targets thrown his way, he still got under 1,000 yards. I mean, to me, that's very dependent on that's the quarterback's fault. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh.
If you look at the earlier games when the Eagles were struggling and losing, why is that? You can say it's the defense, but if you look at it, it was the offense. Jalen Hurts couldn't make throws. He couldn't complete couldn't make the completions. He couldn't throw. His accuracy was all over the place. Y'all started winning games halfway through, or when y'all started winning games was because Jalen Hurts started running the ball, and you saw the numbers there where Jalen Hurts had 770 something yards rushing to Dak's 148. I mean, that's where your bread and butter came from, was running the ball. And when y'all started running the ball, y'all became the number one rushing attack in the NFL because of that. Because there's no tape on Jalen Hurts doing what he does. Now there's tape, and we're gonna see it. So with with that being said, we're gonna see what Jalen Hurts is gonna be about this year. Do I see his passing numbers improving? I don't think so, because I understand that he went out and worked on his throwing motion. He did a lot of that stuff this offseason with certain quarterback coaches, Tom Brady, a few players. But it's very different when you have a certain habit your entire life, and then all of a sudden you try to break it in a few months, and now you may have broken it, but you didn't break it when you had 300-pound linemen running at you. Now it's going to be different because you're going to be in the game. And can Jalen Hurts break those bad habits? We will see.
That was very good. So right now, let's make it out like there's another two questions. But right now, Boys for Life, right now this is face-to-face show. So right now, we're about to witness to do like, well, the biggest question of all. So right now there's a comment right here for Bertman that says, Jalen Hurts is a project quarterback. He has an opportunity. We will see what he can do, but he must beat Dallas this year. And also, of course, there's another comment. His passing numbers had to improve or it's goodbye. So I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that. So East Coast Grand Rapids says, what's up, gentlemen? How's it going, East Coast? And of course, I got Auntie Sid Soldier. What's good, homies? Hey, how's it going right here? So we got a great comments right here. So right now, so Boys for Life. There's a question that everybody talks because this is like, well, one of the questions that about was gonna have to, well, today's season right here. So Boys for Life. So this question is about, well, it's like just like $1 million question. So right now, here's the question right here. Right now, the Dallas Cowboys, after the 2021 season, that they went first place in NFC East, but they just lost against San Francisco Niners in a wild card playoff, and they have the first division title since 2018. So the biggest question for all these fans right here that are watching, Dallas Cowboys could make the playoffs this year.
You kind of froze. You froze there. Did you ask, can the Cowboys make the playoffs again this year?
Yes. Could
Yeah.
the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a great shot at making the playoffs. I mean, you look at the schedule, it's a very winnable schedule. I mean, I get it. The first like what 6 games are kind of toughish. I understand last year. I don't know how the NFL is repackaging this to where we can have the Dallas Cowboys and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing again at a primetime game in a primetime slot Sunday night,
Exactly.
7:30, 8:30 Eastern or 8:20, whatever it is. But then you look at the next game. The first 6 games. So the first 5 games are 3 teams that have been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years: Tampa Bay, uh,
The
the
Kansas City
Rams,
Chiefs.
and well, not we don't play. I don't think we play the Chiefs this year.
Oh,
But we play the Rams, who just won.
uh-huh.
We play the Bengals, who just lost to the Rams this year, and then
Exactly.
we start off with Tampa Bay. So
Mhm.
I mean, the first 5 games are semi tough. I mean, maybe this is the year we finally beat Tom Brady, and then it's all going to depend on what our defense does against the Bengals. That connection between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That's a big connection. We're gonna see if Trayvon Diggs can stop Jamar Chase, and then after that, we got 2 divisional games with the Giants and Washington, and after that, it's the Rams week 5, and then it's the Eagles week 6, and then after that, I want to say it's a bye, or maybe we got one more game after that, and then it's a bye.
Uh-huh.
But the remainder of the schedule is cake. We have the Lions, we have the Giants again, the Commanders again, the Eagles again. We have the Vikings, Green Bay. We don't know what Green Bay is going to be because Aaron Rodgers not only is another year older, he also doesn't have Devontae Smith. You know,
Exactly.
so we don't know what Green Bay is going to be. We have the Bears, we have the Texans, we have the Jaguars, we have the
Hmm.
Titans. So I mean, this after the first 5 games, you want to come out of that at least 2-3, maybe 3-2. I'm good with 3-2
All
coming
right.
up the first 5 games because after that, every game is very winnable. Every single game. I mean, I get it. In those first 5 games, you're gonna have the Commanders and the Giants.
The
So
Giants.
maybe those are your 2 wins, and then maybe you squeak one out against Kansas City. Excuse me, not against Cincinnati. Okay, now you lose to Tampa, you lose to the Rams. You're 3-2, but then you go into playing against the Eagles. That's going to be a tough game, but it's winnable. And then every game after that is very winnable. So as long as we stay ahead of 500, outside in those first 5 games, I think we have a very, very good chance of not only making the playoffs, but also winning this division. And if we don't win this division, because it may be y'all don't have a very tough schedule either, so maybe, something happens, y'all win a game in the division somewhere and y'all are able to squeak one and get the division, but we won't be far, either team won't be far behind each other in the win column. So I very much foresee the Cowboys making the playoffs, whether that's in a wild card position or in winning the division.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just saw the stats right here. Because right now, the last season, which is 2021-2022 season, Dallas Cowboys had a record of 12 wins and 5 losses, and they just went to the first place at the conference right here, beating the Eagles, the Giants, and of course the Washington football team before they changed the name to the Commanders. Because after all these back things that happened at the Dallas Cowboys in the 2020 season right here, I think, well, this is just like an improvement right here because they just had stars like Dak Prescott, CD Lamb. Also, they had like to improve all of the defense and the offline. So it's kind of like, well, they're bigger ready about what's going to happen with the Dallas Cowboys because the last season that the Dallas Cowboys win a Super Bowl, it was 1995. And since
Mhm.
then, 27 years and counting, well, it still reminds that, well, it's still haunted. But right now, some of these fans in the NFL's fans are saying, well, Dallas Cowboys last Super Bowl was 1995, and well, 27 years later, well, they still make to the players, they still make it, but it's just like because it's some Dallas Cowboys fans well can't wait about this world that that moment that triggered us because right now I had some Philadelphia Eagles fans of Dallas Cowboys, well, especially to one, and I had well two I went, which is you, Morgan, and of course there's one called Armando, which is a great person, and I have a special condition that well that happens a lot, but I had some very great content creators like NFL fans, and they just teach me about the American history of the NFL. So it's very clear that I just watched all these things right here. And the last season, boy, that game between Dallas Cowboys versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers was extraordinary. But I think that well, they're just like let's call it like a revenge right here because they just see like another episode of between Dak Prescott versus Tom Brady to the first one on prime time, which is the most incredible thing that happens a lot. And of course, the last question that I had to well to before the wrap this up right here. So right now, your YouTube channel has more than 1,000 subscribers, and of course, you sure trolling has talking about what's going on with the Dallas Cowboys, and of course, speaking about the other rivals, which is the Eagles, the Commanders, and of course, everything else. So, what do you what to inspire it to well to create a YouTube channel providing information for all these NFL fans, especially for the Cowboys fans?
What inspired me to do this?
Hmm.
Well, okay, so it's quite a backstory. Um, I started this YouTube channel in 2016. I was just at bored one night. I was at work. We were on lunch, and I'm just looking through to see if there's. And I want to say we were going to play the Eagles that weekend, or we were coming up to play. So play them. And so I was just looking through YouTube and seeing if there was anything on Eagle fans or anything. Just whatever reason I just looked up if there was anyone bad mouthing the Cowboys, and I came across a channel, and I saw the person's video. Then I saw him I found him. I just looked him up, and I was like, you know what? Let me see if he has a Twitter. So at that time, I looked and see if he had a. He did, and I messaged him, and I was like, hey man, like, because I not only did I watch his video, I watched all these other people that he was going after, and they were going after him, and I hit him up, and I was like, bro, what is this that you're doing? Like, I didn't even know this was a thing, and he got me introduced to this thing called the trash talking circle, where I started my YouTube, where I started talking
Oh,
trash to other football, content creators, video makers, where we would do, videos on each other. We'd make fun of each other, talk crap about each other, do all that fun stuff. And then, even though the subscribers really weren't coming, even after I'd been doing this for a while, my name was, held some weight out there because I was known. I'd been talking for a few years, and then I was approached by Bird Gang 31 and asked me if I wanted to do this stuff because I had got into it with a few Eagle fans this past season. Well, was it this? Yeah, it was this past season. I got into it with a few Eagle fans this past season, and so that's how I got introduced to Birdman, Mitch, Bird Gang 31, and a bunch of other guys.
exactly.
So Vic and AK and all those guys, I got introduced to all those guys. So like I said, Bird Gang approached me with this because he liked what I did. Because all I did was trash talk, man. All I did was just trash talk, run my mouth, and the fact that it got under a lot of Eagles fans' skin the way it did, because I'm not kidding you, there's people on there that wanted to find out where I live, and they wanted to come fight me because I was talking a lot of crap. I didn't think that these people were going to take it that serious, but they did. And I had to let them know that, hey, man, like, I mean, I'm not doing a character, but it's just football trash talk. Like, talk trash back to me. Don't There's no need to get upset. Just talk trash back to me. And after that, it was what it was. And so I started this thing with trolling with Boys for Life. I didn't think it was going to take off the way it has. I mean, there's still a lot of work to do, but when I started it off, it was just a fun thing to do. It was during the season. I had material to talk about, and right now, all I'm doing, man, is just finding my material to talk about, and it presents itself every day where I'm able to do these lives, and just talk about whoever. Like tomorrow, I got someone to talk about that keeps my name in his mouth, another weirdo Eagle fan. So tomorrow I'm going to be doing that tomorrow night, and I can't wait to do that because it's going to be fun.
Yeah, exactly. Because I just started doing the YouTube channel since 2012 because I was in college years, and right now I'm start doing the podcast called Captain's Corner, and what I got is a bigger reception right here because I got Philadelphia Eagles to came in to introduce me, and of course there's Dallas Cowboy fans, New York Giants fans, of course Raiders fans, which I love them, and of course there's nothing more that love it because I'm not even a fan of trash talking, but sometimes I'll try my best, but it was just it's just like fun at anybody else because I just do create with something that I just love it because I've been studying for years because I'm a journalist graduated, and of course that was so incredible right here because I just scratched the surface right here because I've been doing my best thing, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but it seems like I had to do this with a passion that I love because doing what I love because doing content created, and of course I'm doing some videos, and of course providing information and analysis and the panel right here, then that just went crazy. And of course I had to say this, Boys for Life, thanks for coming in on this episode of Face to Face. It's an honor to having you on this episode right here. And then of course, remember this, guys. Follow this guy right here, Boys for Life, not only on Twitter, but also on YouTube with his show Controlling, which he provides all the information of Dallas Cowboys. And of course, the information that he got, comparing all these another stats with the other teams like Eagles, Giants, and the Commanders. And of course, thank you for the subscribers, guys, because I'm on the road of 200. And thank you guys for the 182 subscribers on YouTube. I'm speechless right now because I'm on the road of 200 subscribers right here. So don't forget, hit the like, subscribe, and share this video because this is gonna be awesome. So thank you much for life to having us on this episode of Face to Face. I can't wait to see you next time of talking about the Cowboys and something else with the NFL. So
Yeah, man. I appreciate you for having me on. Anytime. This is very enjoyable. It's very fun. Very easy to talk with you. So I mean, it's fun, man. Whenever you want to do this, let's set it up again. Like I told a few other people, I do have my baby on the way. He's gonna be born next Monday.
oh,
So it's gonna be very tough for me, like even to do my own stuff for a little while. So I'm trying to get as many like watch hours, everything I can until he comes. Because once he comes, like I said, it's gonna be a little tough. It's gonna be a little tough, but I am gonna try to keep up my appearances with my stuff. But yeah, so like just let me know. Just shoot me, like you did, on Twitter. Shoot me a DM
all
and
right.
and let me know when you want to have me back on. Maybe like I've had to cancel a few shows with some people because right now it's dead season.
Mm,
We'll have more
all
stories
right.
when mandatory mini camp starts and training camp
Yeah,
starts.
the summer camps and of
Yeah,
course the preseason.
season, yeah, and then into the season. So, yeah, man, just like I said, just hit me up, man. But it's a pleasure, and I appreciate you for thinking of me and inviting me onto your show, man.
Thank you, Boys for Life, and it's been another episode of Face to Face with the one and only Boys for Life. Even people who watching us with this episode, even I don't like Cowboys, he still earns my respect doing this show right here. So right now, it is time to show up and wrap it up. This episode of Face to Face. We'll see you next time, and of course, Don't forget to subscribe El Capitan Rafucho right here on YouTube. So, farewell, my friends. It's
Later.
been a long while. All right.